Speaking publicly for the first time at a court hearing regarding her court-ordered conservatorship, Britney Spears pleaded with a judge to take her concerns seriously, saying she is traumatized by the arrangement before calling it, quote, abusive. Joining us now, Troy Martin, attorney at Lurie Zabeta law firm specializing in trusts, estates, and probates. Thanks so much for being with us. You say you were astounded by what you heard. I think fans were stunned that she said it and stunned hearing her story. But you as a lawyer were astounded because if what she says is true, what does that mean legally?
Well, first of all, she leveled some very serious allegations against the team that is handling her. And those allegations require a very serious response. A conservator generally does not have the power to involuntarily confine somebody in psychiatric treatment, to force them to take drugs such as lithium, or to interfere with their reproductive rights. And if those things are really going on, it certainly would require the removal and replacement of the conservators at the least.
She made, when it comes to that, and I do want to play that bit about the lithium, but she was making the point that if she didn't do as they wanted, you know, whether it was rehearsing for an upcoming performance or just being quote unquote cooperative, that she would be punished. She said that about the lithium, if we can just listen to that, or sorry, if we can actually see that full screen. She said he immediately the next day put me on lithium out of nowhere. This was after she had really bowed out of a series of performances. He took me off my normal meds I've been on for 5 years, and lithium is a very, very strong and completely different medication compared to what I was. You can't hear that part or understand that part. Then she says, you can go mentally impaired if you take too much, if you stay on it longer than 5 months. She said she felt drunk. She couldn't even take up for herself. She said she couldn't even have a conversation with her mom or dad. She told him she was scared, and her doctor had her with 6 different nurses with this new medication coming to stay at her home. What do you think of this stunning allegation, especially that it was used in a way as a punishment?
That sort of thing should not be happening. In a conservatorship, the conservators have a duty to provide the conservatee with as much autonomy and to control their own lives as is possible. Britney is obviously a very capable person to be able to tour, to record new albums, to be on live television. And it appears that this conservatorship, if her allegations are true, is entirely too controlling, and they're not giving her the power that they should be giving her.
Look, I don't know if Britney Spears knew that the nature of these specific allegations, as you say, go against what you believe to be generally allowed in conservatorships, control over her body, not wanting to have an IUD, wanting to get married, not wanting to be on lithium. But if you look at what she said, the totality, line by line, she blows up what generally is known to be the nature of most conservatorships there. What recourse does she have? She said she wasn't even aware she could petition the judge or how to petition the judge to end it.
I find it absolutely amazing that nobody along the lines has ever described to her that her rights, that she has the power to terminate the conservatorship, or at least petition the court to terminate it. Her court-appointed attorney has a duty, just like any attorney has to any client, to advise them of all of their legal options. And if she is saying to the court investigator that I want this to end, the court investigator should be telling her to talk to her court-appointed lawyer to make sure that her rights are being respected.
Troy, she said over and over, I am someone who, look at me, I've been working, I've been paying for a tour or all of these performances, employing people, and that seemed to not match up with someone who would need a conservatorship, in her view. Is that something that the court will really take into consideration?
I think it's a part of what the court would consider, but one thing that makes this conservatorship completely unique is the amount of celebrity that she has and how that impacts the decision-making of the court. One of the things the court is going to take into account is that she is in a business where there is no shortage of people who are just eager and waiting to take advantage of her. And in my mind, that kind of raises the bar for her to establish that she'll be able to function and thrive in this environment.
Troy Martin, we appreciate you laying out the legal issues here, because it's clear not only is there the personal relationship with her father, the perhaps alleged betrayal there, but there are questions about if the system has let her down over time. So thank you so much for being with us this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So